I always thought about harming myself.
I'm shy. I struggled with making friends.
I never thought I could do anything. I have extremely low self esteem.
Lately, I've been eating my pain away. Just throw it back up. I've been struggling to lose weight. Somebody said I don't fit in just because I wear my hair the way I like it.
1 out of 5 American girls suffer from mental health problems. Don't be that girl. Talk to someone.
Those thoughts I had are long gone, for I have a future I need to get to.
In order to get better, I had to do better. I learned how to make friends.
I believe in myself. That's when everyone else did, I set an example.
Instead of me eating everything, I started watching my calories. The weight is falling off.
I wanted to change my hair, but I decided it was for me. It's for me.
A PSA from the Curvy Girl Project.
And good morning. Welcome to Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we have a very, very informative half an hour with my special guest, Ms. Dominique Sparks. And we're going to talk a little bit more. We did a show a couple of weeks ago, and because of the fact that this is National Autism Awareness Month, that we wanted to bring attention to the fact that there are mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters that may have a member of their family or members of their family that may have autism. And so what we're doing is to let people know that there's a lot of persons that may not know quite how to communicate with persons who may have autism. And that's one of the purposes of, looking at this being National Autism Awareness Month, to let people know what the connections are, how you connect with, a person, and then the support groups that people have when it comes down to autistic young people or autistic adults, in their family. So before we get started, again, this is Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun News. And if our show is live, and if you'd like to call in, our phone numbers are 313-6365-7327, 313-365-7379. And we are televising live from the phenomenal cities of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Glenda McDonald, as well as the phenomenal city of Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan. But before we get started, I do want to just make a few observations that I've noticed since I was with you last week. And one observation is the fact that here we have a new sign going down 94 now that spell out the letters DETROIT. And there's been a lot of mixed reviews about that sign. People that are saying that they're for it, people that are saying that the jury is still out, and people that just don't like it at all. It was kind of interesting just looking at some of the people that commented about this on Facebook. And, and I'll ask, my guest what her thoughts are, about the sign if she's seen it as well. But I had to make a special trip Sunday just to ride down there and see what the sign looked like and what all of the comments were. And, it's interesting just looking at the sign. I guess a lot of people were expecting it to look like the Hollywood sign that you see in California on the mountains. But the thing is that and we don't have the mountains like what they have in Los Angeles to show that Hollywood sign like that.
But today, as I was driving in, I noticed that they were planting pine trees and putting down flowers.
Oh, well, that's good.
So yeah, so they in the landscaping around it together. But I also noticed that people have been crossing the barrier and laying on it and
Yeah, I've seen that too.
touching it.
I've seen pictures with people laying on the E, and
Yeah.
and it's like
I think it's smaller than people thought it would be.
I think you're right, because a lot of people are kind of saying that they thought it was going to be. A lot of people use the K in Kettering High School, and they use that letter K as a barometer of what they thought the height was going to be.
Well,
of the sign.
the letters are only 12 feet tall, and I have seen it. I actually live in Romulus, so I see it driving into the city. Yesterday was my first time seeing it with my own eyes as I drove into the city. And then we took my fellas, because I'm a adult foster care worker. We took the fellas past it at nighttime last night to see it lit up.
Right.
So we got to see it lit up, and I got to see it during the daytime. It's not as bad as the pictures made it. I don't think it's worth $400,000. I think $200,000 could have went to that one and then get one on the opposite side, because you see it going in, but you can't see it going west.
Right.
So I think it should have been, just like it's a grand entrance, it's a grand leaving out. So that's my thoughts. But I like it. I think they should have shrink wrapped it and made it more Detroit oriented. But I guess Detroit green is our colors, and the city of Detroit is green also. So I get that part. But yeah, we was looking for that majestic D. You know what I mean?
Well, people are so funny, Dominic. Some people said that they thought that it should have had the Old English D,
Yeah,
on
but
there.
yeah.
But then they've got that trademark, so they
Yeah.
couldn't use that Old English D. But then the other thing is that, like you're saying, I saw on Facebook yesterday where a lot of people saw it lit up, and now their comments are not as unflattering about the sign.
Yeah, and
since
once they
seen
get the
it lit up.
landscaping around it done, like like the clock at Palau, you look for those flowers and that beauty. I think once that's done, they'll be more happy. But in Detroit, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like, it really doesn't matter what you do. Somebody's not gonna be pleased. So it's not for everybody, but hopefully it grows on everybody, because it's here now.
Well, and that's another
Until
thing
they move
too.
it.
And that's another thing. And before we get started with our conversation about autism, it's interesting because now there's also the conversation because of the fact that GM is going to relocate their headquarters from the Renaissance Center.
Well, they've been gone almost 2 years. I'm a frequent visitor of the Renaissance building because it's relaxing for me. They've been gone about 2 years.
Well, now I guess they're going to take all of their offices
Yeah.
out of the Renaissance Center
And move
put it
them to
into
Dan
that new
Gilbert's
Right,
building.
that Hudson building, that Dan Gilbert is building.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are speculating as to what they're going to do with the Renaissance Center now. And there's
I
talk-
think they were talking about making it
commercial
condos
and
and
put apartments.
yeah,
and-
residential off that water. But Detroit is about to put on its best girdle because the draft is coming. So they about to make us look real pretty and make us up and put on the girdle, and then
Well, I guess
some-
it's probably kind of giving you a lot of ammunition as a comedian to talk about different things in your show, because also my special guest, she is Juicy,
yes, I am.
and she's a comedian.
I am a stand-up comedian.
And and the thing is that a lot of the comedians use a lot of their get a lot of their material from a lot of different things. So when you look at the Detroit sign and look at the GM moving out, and then also
A
they
lot
had
of these things, though, they aren't just topics for comedy. They're topics that we need to discuss because I'm a taxpayer. So my dollars, this is where my money going to. That's why I'm like, we could have did $200,000 on a sign for the left and a sign on the right. You know what I mean? Like, who voted on that? I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing, because it's like, for me, I kind of thought that it was going to be something that may have been something over a bridge leading into Detroit with
Yeah.
the letters real big, that might have been like kind of big fluorescent lights or something like that over a bridge. So
Yeah.
when you first come in, but then I guess people might have thought that might have been a distraction, just like how they had to reduce the signs, the billboards.
I don't know if I would
on
have put
there.
it on Livernois either. No disrespect to Livernois, because it's like, the business.
That's where people were thinking.
Yeah, that's where the business
Okay.
and everything. But I don't know if that's right where I would have put it. 'Cause-
Well, it just seemed like if there's arteries that lead out of Detroit or into Detroit, I think that's why they put it on 94, because of all of the people that come, like from Chicago and
Yeah.
other cities, and other states, Indiana, Chicago, Indiana, Illinois, and even parts of Ohio. But I think the thing is just that when I look at all the people that may be coming in from, like you said, maybe from the 75,
Yeah.
coming up, that might have been another place where they could have put.
Well, I
the
just
sign.
encourage people to make a decision for yourself. If you haven't got a chance to ride past the Detroit sign, see what they doing, see how you like it, call in, let us know what y'all think.
Yeah, and then lastly, just wanted to make a comment about back to the thing with the landscape, with the Renaissance Center, because there are people that are saying that they think they may tear down, they may revamp the landscape. Somebody said it's
I
a
don't see them
possibility
tearing
of
down
them
the
kind of
rest of it.
turned into like a Navy pier, like what they have in Chicago.
Yeah, that would
and
be
put
nice.
like restaurants and and other fine dining places
Yeah.
along there, because we don't really have anything right there on the riverfront of that type of magnitude. I mean,
Yeah.
there are nice restaurants, but in Detroit we don't have those kind of restaurants, outside of
Absolutely.
going into the suburbs.
That would be nice. Yeah, I like eating downtown, so that would be nice to have restaurants and shopping in that building.
And then the other thing too, just one last comment, is that I was listening to somebody that was saying that we need to put a Ferris wheel down there. Like
Well,
how
they
you
have a
see-
Ferris wheel on the other side,
Where?
on the Canada side.
Well, that's what they're saying. Maybe they could put a Ferris wheel on the.
Yeah, and now they just
United States
extended it
side.
for so long. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and
We just got to upkeep it.
and they've always had, because like when you go to Navy Pier, you can get on the sailboat, ride along the shoreline of Chicago. You can see, but we don't have something like that.
We got the Princess boat.
Yeah, but I would still kind of like to see something
We got the
like on a
Captain
regular
Jack.
basis, that you can go and get on the, on a sailboat and just go along the shoreline, somewhat romantic. But I think it would bring a lot of revenue, in.
It would.
And if we did a Ferris wheel, people would get on that Ferris wheel just to get a chance to see it revolve, and especially that view.
Yeah, the
I can
Canada
imagine from the
side.
top
Yeah.
of the Ferris wheel, because when you see a lot of these other, countries in some of their primary cities,
See, we need you
they
on the
have
city
that.
council. That's what we need
Well,
you.
I think that the thing is that there's probably council people that are probably thinking about looking at the TV, looking at some of the things that people write in papers, and they're probably getting a lot of good ideas for a lot of things. But let's talk in terms of, say, about autism. I had a lot of people a couple of weeks ago that have commented and said that they really appreciated you, Dominique, for coming on the show and speaking about your son Juju, and and let me ask you a question then. How's your life been since the last time that you were on the show a couple of weeks ago?
Since I was on the show a couple of weeks ago, life has been good. I cannot complain right now. We are in the transitional stage for Juju because he is getting ready for Special Olympics, which he is going to on May 23rd. And so we practicing for track and field. So getting him ready for that. We are still in kindergarten, which we are having challenges. Juju is what we call a one-on-one. So because of his anger and behavioral issues, because people will tell you about the good stuff, but they don't tell you. I can't say, oh, it's a walk in the park with Juju. It's not. Every day is different. Every day we have our challenges, but we get through them. So when he gets angry, we are finding different ways to redirect and also to get that energy out. So I have my yard set up with a trampoline and a playscape and boxing gloves. So just in case you do want to punch it out, a safe and healthy way to do it: running, track and field. I got the cones. I set them up. We went from one corner to the next corner. Not we. I'm not gonna lie. I don't run, but I watch him as he runs from one corner to the next. You have to find out what works for you. Each individual case of autism is different. Each day is different. Yesterday we had a great day. This morning he woke up at 5 a.m. and was ready for the day, and mom wasn't. You know what I mean? So you have to find what works for you. So I gave him the tablet for an hour, and I went back to sleep. Was that me being a bad mom? No, that's doing what I have to do, because a good mom is a healthy mom. And a healthy mom means mental health and physical health. You need that rest, because they don't rest. Children with autism only produce 30% of melatonin in their bodies. So often they could go days or weeks at a time if you allow them without sleep, which is not healthy for anybody. So you have to find out what works for you. I only do natural medicines, holistic, because I don't know the effects of those medicines. And I've seen children working in early childhood education. When I used to serve on policy council for preschool for state of Michigan. I saw those effects of those medicines, Ritalin, and I'm not against any mom who chooses that for their child, because eventually that decision is going to come to me. At the age of 6, they are regulated to go to school, and they are regulated, if needed, to be on medication. Even if I had to get medication for Juju, I would microdose. Like, whatever they give him, I'm going to microdose and then try. If they give him 5, I'm going to try 1 first. See where we at 1. If that's not working, then we'll go up to 2. But we not just starting off at 5, because I don't want to lose Juju. I don't want to lose the jubilee in Juju. He's a very happy child. He sings. He tries to speak, you know what I mean? And I saw one of my friends' kids on Ritalin, and he was a happy, outgoing, rambunctious boy. But then when he took the Ritalin, all of a sudden, he was down, like sleeping and drowsy. And yeah, he's calm, and you get your rest, and he's not bothering anybody, but it's bothering me because that's not the child that I'm raising. You know what I mean? Like, you know the difference. So, I mean, what works for you is what works for you. But always try different alternatives or look into different alternatives.
Somebody had asked me, Dominique, since the last show that you were on, to ask you the question, when you explain to your son why he may be different from other kids, what do you tell him?
I don't tell Juju that he's different than other kids. And that's me. If you choose to inform your child of their disability, that's fine. In our household, we don't treat it as a disability. We treat it as an ability that we have to learn how to work. So, because he's not disabled. Juju uses the bathroom on his own. Juju bathes and brushes his teeth on his own, with instruction though. And it has to be repetitious. We've worked and practiced on this. We are the first teachers. I can't not teach him how to do these things at home or not promote him learning, because eventually I want him to be able to self-care for himself. That is the goal of every parent with every child, whether they're special needs or not. You want to give them as much ability as possible to be able to make it without you. So I push Juju, no, you can do it. yes, you can. And he'll say, no, and stop. And I say, okay, I'll give you your moment of frustration. Now, what we going to do with today? We going to take the opportunity or we going to sit on it? And then he tries. Push him to try. Push your children to always try. They said Juju wouldn't be potty trained until 7. Juju was potty trained at 1.5 years. But I set Juju on the potty with the tablet. I know you sit still when you're on the tablet, so whatever it takes to implement it. And then once we got pottying on the tablet, we slowly transition the tablet away. Because now we got potty. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So it takes time and patience, but you have to have it with yourself first. And what I meant to, I did want to put in that I forgot on the last segment,
Okay.
yeah, is give yourself the same patience and grace that you give your children. Because just like their special needs, now you have special needs also. Because you need to take self-care time. You need to find a support group, whether that be your church or family or a friend, somebody that understands, because people can sympathize, but to empathize, you have to go through it.
So, are there? I know you mentioned about churches or maybe like schools or things like that. But what are some of the things in terms of like with family that people may have? Because sometimes they're family that don't have members that are like you, that are patient, that understand, what's going on.
That's a hard transition, because even in our family, your job is to protect your kids from monsters, even if those monsters are family members. And that's a hard truth that people don't want to swallow. If you are open and understanding to learning how to love Juju or any child with special needs, then I'm willing to teach you and be patient and give you that same grace that I just told you to give yourself. But if you are not and you are dismissive, then you'll be dismissed, because my job is to protect my child first.
So there has never been anybody that you've encountered, Dominique, that may have said anything to your son that you had to explain, or like that may have hurt him?
His own aunt called him retarded.
You say his aunt?
His aunt called him retarded. We no longer visit with her because nobody in our family is retarded.
She said that to him?
That she said that in front of him.
Okay.
Remember that nonverbal does not mean not hearing.
Okay.
If I tell Juju to get his cup and he get his cup, he heard me, right? So if somebody calls Juju retarded in his presence, he heard them. He still has feelings. We still respect him in his house. This is his safe place. So it's certain words we don't use. We don't use retarded. We don't use stupid. We don't use not capable. We use affirmations to try to build up, because when you go out in the world is going to tear you down. We don't do it here.
So give some of the affirmations that you would use.
In the morning? I am handsome. I am important. I understand. I am capable. I am enough. I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. I am kind. I am, just the things that I am a king. I am to be respected and I am to give respect. Things like that. You put, and even when he's sleeping, I speak these things over him when I play Little Baby Bum, because what you practice in your hearing is what you practice in your doing. As a man thinks, so is he. So I want to put those good and positive thoughts into him, so when he goes into the world, he exuberates good and positive images play back in his mind. Mommy told me I'm kind. Mommy told me I'm enough. Mommy told me I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do or that disrespects me. Because people will try to use them and manipulate them into doing bad things for friendship. You got a friend at home, you got a friend in Jesus. Your real friends won't tell you bad things.
So in the few minutes that we have left, Dominique, talk about what are you doing for Juju for the future? So it's like, as he gets older, what are some of the things that you pretty much kind of planning out for him? Okay,
the most important thing I would say that I'm planning out for him, Juju will continue therapy. Even if something happens to me, I have it set up where Juju will continue therapy.
Okay.
Not just physical therapy or occupational therapy or speech therapy, but also emotional therapy. I am also setting up a business for Juju. It's called Juju's Jubilee Party Rentals, where we do birthday parties and different things, event planning, because I don't want him to be dependent on $941 in Social Security for the rest of his life. Just because you have a special ability does not mean that you have to be limited in income. So I want him to, by the time he turns 25, he'll have a 23-year running business in his name, good standing credit, to support himself.
That's good. You know, and that's the thing, because I was, you know, I know there's other friends of mine, mothers that have autistic children. And I know that's one of the things that another friend of mine, her name is Batanji Kendrick Bailey, and she has her son Hezekiah, and she has, you know, kind of set it up, you know, for him, because he's even written a book.
See?
And so she's helping in terms of, say, to get autism awareness, you know, to a lot of people. And then the same thing with another friend of mine, Sonia Weaver, who has, I mentioned that on the show last week, that she's doing something along with Batanji, and they're doing beading.
I encourage all autism parents to find their awesome in autism.
Well,
Find the awesome in your autism.
if there is, just in the few seconds we have left, is there any contact information? So if somebody wants to kind of even to talk to you, to get some more encouragement.
313-424-9497. That's my business number, 313-424-9497. I'm always open to questions, comments, concerns, bookings.
Okay. And my special guest has been Juicy, otherwise known as Dominique Sparks.
Yes.
And appreciate you coming on. This is, like I said, this is National Autism Month awareness, and appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Best of luck to you. Best of luck to Juju and everybody else that comes in contact. You've been watching Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. If you'd like to get a copy of the Detroit Native Sun News, or you'd like to advertise, you can contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart at 313-457-5944. Have a great rest of this day. Peace.
Here at the Full and Fabulous Curvy Girl Project, we don't just focus on health, beauty, and self-esteem. We also offer an amazing summer program for young ladies ages 12 to 18. For more information, visit our website at fullandfabulous.org. See you soon.